So in reaction to recent incidents like in Uvalde, Texas and Buffalo, New York, multiple states have moved to ban so-called large capacity magazines. So we'll talk about this. But real quick before we jump into this video, if you think a ban on magazines is unconstitutional, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Also, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Sonoran Desert Institute. SDI is an accredited online college that helps students learn the skills and techniques they'll need to be successful in the firearms industry. So if you enjoy gun repair, ballistics, and learning about firearms, SDI might be a good option for you. To find out more about SDI, you can visit the website link down below. And thank you again, SDI, for sponsoring this video. So like I said in the intro, multiple states are currently moving on with the process to ban so-called large capacity magazines. Magazine bans have been all the rage right now, especially with the left, following the recent incidents in Buffalo and Uvalde, Texas. Those on the left have known that a national ban is likely never going to happen, although they are still trying to get national bans on so-called large capacity magazines. They've introduced multiple bills, but they know that they probably won't get the 60 votes they need in the Senate for a national ban, so states instead are moving towards state-level bans on so-called large capacity magazines. The state of Rhode Island is the next in line trying to ban magazines that hold more than 10 rounds, and their proposed bill that bans these types of magazines just passed a House vote. The bill in question in Rhode Island is H6614, and there is also a Senate parallel bill, which is S2653. Under this bill, it states, no person except for a federally firearms licensed dealer shall manufacture, sell, offer to sell, transfer, purchase, possess, or have under his or her control a large capacity feeding device, except as otherwise authorized under this chapter. It goes on to state that any person convicted of violating the provisions of this section shall be punished by imprisonment of not more than 5 years or by a fine of up to $5,000. So that is the general ban that they're trying to put in place in the state of Rhode Island under this bill. However, unlike other state bills that we're going to talk about in just a second, like the state of Washington's ban on so-called large capacity magazines that they've put in place, that's passed, and now is being challenged in the courts, this current bill in Rhode Island does not have a grandfather clause included in the bill. Instead, it is a complete ban on the possession of any magazine that holds more than 10 rounds. The bill states that 180 days after the effective date of the bill, a person in possession of one of these magazines must either modify them to hold only 10 rounds, surrender them to law enforcement or an FFL, or to destroy them. With this bill, the state of Rhode Island and its residents are facing a complete ban on any magazine that holds more than 10 rounds, so pretty much standard magazines are going to go away in the state of Rhode Island if this passes. Now, what does this bill seek to define as a so-called large capacity magazine? Well, the bill states that a large capacity feeding device means a magazine, box, drum, tube, belt, feed strip, or other ammunition feeding device which is capable of holding or can be readily be extended to hold more than 10 rounds of ammunition to be fed continuously and directly therefrom into a semi-automatic firearm. If that definition sounds familiar to you, that's because it is. This bill is simply recycling and reusing the same language that has been used in other states, like the state of California in their magazine ban, and also the recent state ban in the state of Washington. Now, like I said, this bill in the state of Rhode Island just passed a House vote with 43 votes in favor of it and 27 against it. On the Senate bill, I see that the Senate will be considering the vote on this magazine ban on June 14th, so tomorrow. So if you live in Rhode Island, I highly recommend you contact your reps and let them know that they should not vote in favor of this magazine ban. Right now is your time to oppose this ban, and really you don't want to have to deal with the consequences and the battle that happens once a bill like this is passed, like the state of California is facing, and now the state of Washington is facing. But like I said, Rhode Island isn't the only state that has recently moved on magazine bans. The state of Washington has also passed a magazine ban that will take effect on July 1st of 2022. The Washington ban is SB 5078. This Washington bill defines large capacity magazines in a way that is pretty much identical to the language we just saw reiterated in the state of Rhode Island bill. However, unlike Rhode Island, the state of Washington didn't go for a complete ban. Instead, they decided to include a grandfather component. This is similar to what states like the state of California did on their first go around on magazine bans, but I wouldn't find comfort in that because what ends up happening, like we saw in the state of California, is initially they will have a grandfather clause, but then down the road they will try to amend that bill, try to amend that law to also then ban those grandfathered magazines as well. But right now, under this bill in the current language, if you live in Washington and you legally possess a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds prior to the ban, you can keep it. And keep in mind, the effective date of that bill is July 1st, so the clock is ticking right now if you want to purchase magazines. Now, if you're in Washington or Rhode Island, just because your state has or may pass a magazine ban doesn't mean you're going to be left out in the rain all by yourself. FBC recently filed a lawsuit against the state of Washington's magazine ban in a case called Sullivan v. Ferguson. Also, a challenge to the state of California's magazine ban is currently on hold at the Supreme Court level. That case is Duncan v. Bonta, and if that case is taken up by the Supreme Court, that may provide a lot of relief, not just for the state of California, but other states as well who have magazine bans, like the state of Washington and also maybe the state of Rhode Island. In FBC's case against the state of Washington, they argue that the restrictions on ammunition, including ammunition magazines, restricts the use of arms within the meaning of the Second Amendment. Without bullets, the right to bear arms would be meaningless. A regulation eliminating a person's ability to obtain or use ammunition would thereby make it impossible to use firearms for their core purpose. They also state that outright bans on manufacturing, importing, selling, or offering for sale commonly possessed magazines violate the Second Amendment by prohibiting all Washington residents from acquiring those magazines and firearms equipped with them, and therefore denying them the fundamental right to keep and bear arms. Now, one important thing to note is that in the Sullivan complaint, FBC recognizes that the Ninth Circuit en banc panel has already upheld the state of California's ban on magazines. However, they argue that decision was clearly wrong and that the Supreme Court's decision in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin may change the complete analysis that the Ninth Circuit used. FBC states that plaintiffs acknowledge that the Ninth Circuit has rejected a Second Amendment challenge to California's similar restrictions on standard capacity magazines in Duncan v. Bonta. But plaintiffs believe that case was wrongly decided. They therefore institute this litigation to vindicate their Second Amendment protected rights and seek to have Duncan overruled by a court competent to do so. Of course, it is possible that the Supreme Court effectively will overrule Duncan's mode of analysis in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin, and if so, plaintiffs reserve the right to argue accordingly. In the Duncan v. Bonta California magazine ban case, Judge Roger T. Benitez in the Southern District of California found that the state of California's retroactive and confiscatory ban was unconstitutional and therefore he enjoined it. Of course, the state of California didn't like that. They didn't like that they lost, so they decided to appeal it up to the Ninth Circuit, and eventually the case made its way up to the Ninth Circuit en banc panel, and on review, the panel found in favor of the state of California. They upheld the state's magazine restrictions on the basis that the ban on magazines that hold more than 10 rounds is not a complete magazine ban, since residents can still possess some type of magazine for self-defense. Now, like I said, the Duncan case is currently seeking Supreme Court review and has been placed on hold until the Supreme Court rules in the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin case, which will be coming soon, sometime this month. By the end of this month, by the end of the term, the Supreme Court will have to issue that ruling. There are more opinion dates coming later this week on Wednesday, so we're keeping our eyes out for that as well. But once that decision hits, it is likely that the Supreme Court will have some sort of language that will impact all these cases, including these magazine ban cases. So that's just a quick update on 2 states that are going after magazine bans right now and the cases that are going on to fight against those bans. Like I said earlier, if you're in the state of Rhode Island, please contact your reps and let them know to oppose this magazine ban. Trust me, take it from someone in California. You do not want this magazine ban to pass. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment down below and I'll try to answer the best of my ability. Also, if you like this video and like support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm or fuel Algor's rhythm. It adds fuel to his jet, and it signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos and in this type of 2A news. Again, I want to thank everybody who likes, comments, subscribes, who hits the notification bell, who shares these videos. You guys are directly impacting these videos, impacting this channel, and helping me to reach and educate more people than I could ever do on my own. So again, thank you so much for all of your support. And as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And never forget to check the Built Bar Arms Scholars and the Station with Tame Arms Scholars.